Hello everyone. On today's lesson, I'm going to explain you how to play the endgame queen fighting against the pawn and the king. So we are going to talk about one of the basic endgames. Okay, so let me tell you a couple of things at the beginning. First of all, usually queen can win this position. Of course, I'm just talking about the queen and the king can win against the pawn and the king. There might be some problems only if pawns are on the second rank or on the seventh rank. If we are talking about the black, because that pawn has got very close to the promotion, as you can see. So in this case, you need to know that if those pawns are B, G, or central pawns E or D, queen can easily win. The draw is only if those are rook pawns and also if those are bishop pawns. And let me explain what is the plan. How queen can win in this position. The main goal is to force black's king to move in front of the pawn. So when king is in front of the pawn, it's blocking that pawn, so it cannot move forward, and white has got a time to bring king closer. Of course, if king is close, then white is winning. So what's the process? So how can you force black's king to move in front of the pawn? So first of all, you need to know that you have to use those. You have to keep your queen on those files behind the pawn and in the one file close to that pawn. So take a look. You are just moving closer and closer to the pawn. Okay, so now doesn't make much sense for the king to move in front of that because king will just come closer. So king has to go somewhere. Queen is coming closer. So pawn is hanging at the moment. So king has to go back. Queen comes closer as well. Okay, king has to move somewhere. And now very important thing. It's very important to move your queen behind the pawn. Of course, pawn cannot promote. King has to go there and queen goes to that place. And now king cannot go there because you can see that that pawn is hanging. So king has got no choice. King has to go in front of the pawn. And of course, if king is in front of the pawn, white can bring king closer, right? So white's king is a little bit closer. So black has got no choice. Black has to move out of that. And now white has to repeat exactly the same idea. So white is moving back. White is moving behind the pawn, as you can see. Okay, check. King goes somewhere. Queen goes behind the pawn. Very important. Check. And now again, king has to go in front of the pawn. And now it gives a time for white to bring the king closer. Okay, king has to go somewhere. Queen goes to this place. We can repeat the same story. You can see now I'm just moving pretty quickly, but I hope you understand that process right now. And queen is behind the pawn. Okay, queen goes there, king goes in front. And now white can easily bring the king closer. And now this is of course easy win because in the next move white gets this pawn. Of course you need to know how to checkmate with a queen, but this is usually quite simple. And this is the way how can you win if those are those central pawns, and of course and B and G pawn as well, and every other pawn that is not on the second or seventh rank. So if that black's pawn would be, for example, here, you can use exactly the same pattern. If black's pawn would be here, you can use exactly the same pattern, and that's this is easy win. But how to, in what cases there is a draw? So let me start with the first case when there is a rook pawn. This is first exception. It's pretty obvious, I would say, because you see, if white is trying to use exactly the same pattern, white is moving behind, white is checking, and you see, in case that black's king goes there, white can bring queen closer. So black has got another trick. Black can move in front of the pawn on purpose, and you can see that king is blocking. King is blocking the pawn but there is no, I file, right, in chess. And white cannot bring the king because it's a stalemate, right? So that position is a draw. If white queen goes somewhere, king moves out, okay, queen checks, king goes back in front of the pawn. And this is a big problem, that white's king cannot go because it's a stalemate. So with such a pawn, with the rook pawn that is on the 7th or 2nd rank, it's gonna be a draw. So this is one thing. And second thing, let's talk about the bishop pawns. I have to admit that this is not as common. I mean, it happens, but a lot of players there keep forgetting that with the bishop pawn it's also a draw. But here the idea is slightly different. So take a look. White is using exactly the same idea, right? Queen goes here, right? Queen goes behind. So far looks that white is winning because white is like advancing. Queen goes behind the pawn, king goes there, and now it's the key point. Black's king is not forced to move in front of the pawn, but black's king can go here. And if king is into the corner, in case that white captures, we have got a stalemate. So that's the problem. I mean, for the queen, and white cannot win that. So that's the point. So, and with bishop pawns and rook pawns on the 7th and 2nd rank, it's usually a draw, unless of course the king is not close enough, right? So that's the thing. So I hope that you understand that endgame better after that lesson, because this is one of the basic endgames. Okay, and now I'm just going to play some games, of course with the explanation. Okay, 1 second. Let me find the opponent. Okay, play. Yeah, by the way, hello ZB, nice to see you. I will try to play some 10 minutes games. Okay. First opponent from Spain. So let's start with the d4 move. Okay, let's play, quite active way. Let's play c4, e6. Okay, I can go there, some kind of a Nimzo Indian. I can play g3, so it would be like a Catalan, but I usually go knight f3. So after b6 it's gonna be Queen's Indian. Okay, opponent plays d5, so this is the transposition into the Catalan, because I'm gonna play g3, the g3 move, which is Catalan. Now black has got several different options, and black decides to go, black picks the open Catalan. And okay, I know that the main move is bishop g2, but I'm usually, a big fan of playing queen a4. This is what I usually play. Okay, knight goes here. And now take a look. Yeah, the question is, do I have to take it? Probably yes, because in case I move my bishop there are some annoying checks. And if there is one thing that I hate to be like down on the material. So I will take at the c4. Bishop d6. Yeah, that knight at c6 usually is not a good spot for the knight, because it's blocking the c5 move. Maybe my opponent is planning to go e5 forward, but okay, I'm not afraid of that much. I just keep developing. In the Catalan, it's very important to castle as soon as you can. a6. I don't really understand what's the idea. Maybe opponent wants to play b5, but that knight is hanging. So I think I can just keep developing. So you see, there is pawn at c4 is not hanging because pawn is no longer there. So I don't need to make that very common move for the Catalan. I can just play knight c3. And now I have to move my queen back. Let's pick the d3 square. My plan, I want to play e4. Common for the Catalan, I want to go bishop g5, spinning the knight. Also I threat e5, so move makes a fork, and also that move is okay. Okay, so let's take a look here. Now I have got a tricky idea. I mean, if my bishop would be at the g5, I can take it, queen takes, and I can go knight g5. And then I have got a threat of checkmate at h7, and at the same time I have got a threat on the rook. So even if I so I think I can win some material. Hello everyone. Okay, so the question is, can I make it happen somehow? How can I make it happen? Would be really nice to win some material, because you see, opponent by playing b5 gave me that tactical motive here. Okay, so but the problem is that if I move my bishop to g5, opponent will go bishop b7, and yeah, it's not, unfortunately too long. And now knight g5 doesn't make much sense because knight is protecting here. But maybe if I start with e4, you can see opponent cannot play there. And I think I also tried to play e5. As you can see. If I were black, I would most probably go there. Maybe I can play e5, but then knight d5. The problem also with this move is that if there is no checkmate or I cannot win any material, the d4 pawn becomes backwards and becomes a weakness. I would rather avoid having a weak pawn. But maybe it's not such a big problem, because if I go there, if I put my knight into e4 after knight d5, maybe it's not that bad. Okay, so let me think. What else can I play? e5 looks good. Bishop g5, bishop b7. And this is a small problem for me. Yeah, that's the small problem. So I've most probably, if opponent goes here, I'm gonna play this move. Knight goes to d5, and I think I will go knight e4. My knight at e4 is blocking. It also, later it can go to one of those places. Yeah, I think I can. Can I do that? And now I think black is forced to move to d5, because in case knight goes somewhere else, I will just go there. With the same idea. Knight d5. Okay, in case I take, opponent is going to take with the pawn. So this is my opponent's point. Okay, if I go here, I try to checkmate. Opponent is forced. Opponent cannot go there because of the checkmate. Opponent is forced to go there. And there are very weak dark squares. So maybe it's worth to give it a try. Because, yeah, those squares are gonna be very weak. But the question is, should I capture first at the d5? Pawn takes, I go knight g5. Pawn goes to g6. Now opens that bishop, I don't want to do that. Okay, let's go here. My bishop is protecting the knight at this point. Opponent goes here. Yeah, I can go there, but then bishop removes my knight. If I go here, probably bishop goes to b7. Okay, definitely I have got a really good position, but I don't see any direct way. How can I take advantage of that? So you know what, in this case, I will just focus on improving my position. It's always a good idea to bring another piece into the action. After this move, maybe I can play b3. It restricts that knight, so opponent cannot activate the knight into this place. I hope this is not, this is not too passive. That move is at red right now, so this is the reason why opponent has to do something with that rook. Okay, what opponent is going to do? I have to think, how can I take advantage of those, you know, bets, I mean, weak squares. Maybe I can push my h-pawn forward. Maybe that would be a nice idea. Yeah, why not? Looks pretty decent. b3 is more like a defensive move, because you see, I wish I could move my pawn to b4 and make that pawn backwards, but unfortunately opponent can move knight to the c4, and that's a small problem. Okay, opponent goes back. Can I go knight f6? Okay, what happens? If knight takes, I take with the pawn. Bishop takes, I take the rook. Bishop takes my knight, so I cannot do that. So you know what, I will play this move. You know, I'm just moving my pawn. Later it can move forward. It's also like a prophylactic move. So you see, I'm just bringing another defender. I know that that knight was, you know, had got enough defenders, because that knight and that bishop, they were defending that, but I wanna be safe. Especially if I can make a very useful move. Why not? I'm really thinking about that b3 move, but should I be afraid of knight c4? I mean, if I want to move that bishop, would be nice, because now bishop is protected. Okay, f6. Opponent decides to open the king. It cannot be good. The question is, how can I punish my opponent for doing such a thing? Okay, for sure, no need to sacrifice. Taking it here does make sense. No, let's take it here. It has to be a big mistake. Of course, bishop takes. Now I think if I take it here, knight cannot capture because of that rook. But if I take it here, probably queen captures. Maybe I can move another knight to e4. Yeah, maybe I can move another knight to e4, so it's queen has to go somewhere and I can activate my bishop. That line looks pretty good, but let me calculate what happens after h5. After h5, am I winning there or not? Pawn cannot capture because I take it here and there is a checkmate threat. But after this move, what happens if opponent goes like this? Yeah, you know what, let's keep it simple. Rook takes. Okay, it doesn't, you know, there is another tactical motive, but I think I still can go there and I can bring my bishop in the next move. Also h5 looks nice. Oh, and maybe, okay, I'm just still thinking about playing b3 and restricting that knight. Maybe actually I will not start my attack until I play b3. But wait a second. If rook goes back, let's say to f7, I move my bishop to g5. Queen goes somewhere, knight f6. I think I can win an exchange. If you can see that. I can get the rook. Okay, let's go here. I think I can win it. Where that queen can go? It cannot stay on the diagonal. It has to be moved to one of those squares. And after I play, okay, and now there is a tactical motive of the fork. And I think I have, okay, one question. If I go there, knight takes, I take that rook, opponent plays c6. The idea of playing c6 is is to trap my bishop. Okay, would it be... Yeah, my bishop can be trapped. Yeah, you know what the question is, should I be afraid of that? Okay, so what can I play? Okay, you know what? I think I can keep that bishop. Yeah, let's go here. Because if opponent goes c6, I will try to attack that pawn and that knight as well. Maybe move like queen c3 would work. Okay, opponent decides to sacrifice the rook. It doesn't make any sense. Because now opponent is going to be down 2 exchanges at this point. So that actually was a really bad idea. Rook takes f6 and later c6 I could understand, but now, okay. So where can I move my bishop? Because my bishop is under attack. Here, knight will go to c4 and exchange it. I want to keep that bishop because I think that dark squares are really weak. Okay, king g7 restricts the knight. Okay, knight c6. But as I told you before, this is not a great place for the knight. So take a look. I see there is a weakness here. So maybe it would be nice to attack that point a little bit. I can also double rooks. Also, exchanges are good for me because I'm up. Yeah, that's my plan. I want to go here. I want to get that pawn. I can also play bishop h6. Okay, opponent is protecting that, but okay, I think my bishop here is, you know... maybe my opponent is planning to go there and trying to do some kind of checkmate threat. So I have to be careful. And also, maybe that move makes sense. So knight has to retreat, let's say to c6, and later I can... knight is on the square that is... yeah, so queen cannot go there. That looks like a nice idea. Okay, and also my opponent has got only like 30 seconds, so... Okay, 20 seconds, so probably soon my opponent is going to lose on time. Okay, a5. Probably random move for my opponent. Let's play a3 as planned. I will check that king. Now I'm gonna play maybe rook e2. Double rooks on that pawn. Okay. Okay, I win. Yeah, I think. Okay, let's play another game. Let's go and let's play another game. Okay, challenge sent. Okay, opponent from Indonesia. I play black. Okay, what's going on? Okay, is that opponent going to make a first move or not? Okay, it's 25 seconds to auto-resign. Okay, so most probably I have to search for another opponent. Okay. Okay, another opponent, also from Indonesia. Okay, d4. You know what? Let's play Slav Defense. Recently, I'm playing more Tarrasch Defense, but I also really like to play Slav, so let's have a try. e3. Okay, so it's gonna be, if I'm going to play e6, and I'm gonna play e6 because thanks Paul, because it's a semi-Slav. You see, g6 is an alternative Schlechter variation, but I don't want to play it right now. And the thing is that it's very important. In the Slav, you cannot develop that bishop, which is a very common idea, if white has got a pressure, if there is knight at c3, and they are making pressure here. Because after bishop f5, I think white is gonna take it, and queen b3, and this is a very annoying thing. So I'm going to play e6, semi-Slav. Okay, now knight d7. Now white has got two main moves. There are, of course, some sidelines, but usually white plays one of those moves. Bishop d3 is more dynamic or more sharp. I mean, if someone plays French defense and Queen's Gambit, e6 makes a lot of sense. I mean, I answered like this in a couple ways because, you know, I play French defense as well. And it makes a lot of sense, but I usually, you know, get used to playing d5 as a first move after d4. But of course, it does make a lot of sense. But it's not like that I only like to play French. I also really like, you know, to play Queen's Gambit as black, so. Yeah, okay, and now bishop e2. There is a move like this. The idea is that in case that I capture, opponent can go a4 and later move the knight and take that pawn. Of course, by taking here, in case that bishop takes, I play b5 and we have got transposition into the main line. But because my opponent played bishop e2, I will play bishop d6. This is like a very typical Slav idea. And in the long run, after, of course, I castle, after I develop my pieces, I want to take it and I want to play here. Okay, opponent plays queen c2, so this is a transposition. Okay, I castle, as I remember. I want to take and I want to go e5. Yeah, I don't want to play e5 right now because opponent takes, I take back. Opponent takes and I have got an isolated pawn. This is the reason why I take it immediately here. Yeah, and by the way, I think there is here and here. Let's play e5. I have used to, yeah, usually I go like this. And now, as I remember, I can go queen e7. I have to admit that I haven't played that line for a while, but as I remember, black was fine here. After e4, there are some possibilities for the Greek gift. If you have seen some of my recent videos, I was explaining Greek gift idea. So opponent plays h3, it stops that problem. Can I play e4? If I go e4, knight is going to play to g5. and my pawn is in trouble. So probably I cannot do that. Also, this is not a good move because opponent will go there, attacking here and here. Okay, so the question is, what can I do? I mean, here, let me calculate it again. I play knight b6. Bishop goes back. I play bishop f5. Yeah, maybe actually this is not as bad. So let's go e4. Because if I can keep my pawn at the e4, this is like a very strong pawn. It's also kind of a signal for me to attack on the king side. Yes, as if I understand that position correctly, after this move I can go here. But opponent will take it here. I take, queen takes. No, it should be fine for me because bishop at the c4 square is hanging. So that should be fine. And of course, in case the opponent moves there, I think I can just simply put my rook here and I'm protecting that pawn. Because when knight was at the g5, it wasn't such a great move. Okay, bishop goes back, so opponent plays in a very passive way. Also, probably the idea is to move the knight to c4. So maybe let's block opponent's ideas. And later I can develop my bishop to the f5 square. Okay, g3. So as you can see, opponent is trying most probably to move bishop to g2 and wants to take my pawn here. But I have got bishop f5. Also, now I think such an idea would be very strong. Can I go like this? Because you see now this is a little bit, that castle is kind of weak. Let's go. h4. Okay. On the one hand, opponent is stopping my idea, but on the other hand, I have got a nice square at the g4. So I can later, move my knight there or bishop. But of course, that pawn is hanging right now. So what can I do? g5, I think it's a little bit too sharp. Okay, if I move my knight there, in case knight takes, I can take with the pawn, and this is kind of a reversed French. Maybe opponent is planning to go there, but then I move my bishop back. Okay, what else can I do? You see, white has got a problem with the development, as you can see. It's not so easy to develop that bishop. So I can just maybe wait. I can just maybe move my rook to c8 or something. Should be fine. But okay, let's go knight d5. As the principle says, let's activate the weakest piece, the less active piece. Okay, a3. I have got no idea what opponent is planning to do. Yeah, I think I can bring my rook. Let's go here. Maybe I can move my bishop back. Okay, and now because center is kind of closed and my pieces are pretty well developed, so I have to think, how can I attack the position maybe by playing g5. The knight goes here. What that knight is planning to do, knight wants to go there, doesn't make much sense. Let's go here. I have got some threats to capture here, maybe capture here, and of course my idea of playing g5 is still alive. Knight goes to c4. Okay, now the question is, okay, I think I have to save that bishop. That bishop is gonna be useful in the attack, so I will save it first. Okay, I couldn't sacrifice my knight there. Also here probably doesn't seem to be very good, but I think in the next move, I'm not afraid of moves like that. Let's go g5. You can move pawns out of your king if position is closed. in that position, I mean, center is definitely closed. So that looks like a smart idea. And later I'm planning to move my pawn forward to the h4. Also, it's not so easy for my opponent to bring pieces into the king side, as you can see. So this is what happens if you play to this is what happens if white doesn't play, you know, in an active way. I play black, and after 20 moves I have got a huge initiative, so yeah, so it has to be good. Yeah, now you can see h4. How opponent is going to stop me? Opponent, maybe best chance is to try to play knight f4, and then if I take it, take with the e pawn. Maybe such a move would be good. But who said that after this move I have to take it? Maybe I can go h4 right away. Knight e5. Okay, so take a look. Opponent wants to sacrifice the pawn just to exchange pieces that are attacking me. That are attacking him. So what happens now? Knight takes. I can even take it with my rook. Pawn takes, and I can go there. No need to complicate it. Let's just take it like this. I think I can take it here. Rook's hanging. Okay, and now take it or not. h4 takes, rook takes. I promise you to move my pawn to the h4 square. So let's see, can I checkmate the opponent? I will set up pre-move at that rook takes back. Of course, it's not gonna be as easy right now, especially that opponent exchanged one piece, and most probably soon opponent is going to exchange second piece that are attacking him. But for example, my rook is at the e5. Okay, that pawn is protected, but if I take knight takes, I take there. Oh, rook takes d8. So I have to find a different idea. That idea, bishop goes to h1. Okay, now my rook is hanging. So maybe I can take a look, because my rook is hanging, and at the same time you can see that it was not possible at knight e3 because my rook at the d8 was hanging. So maybe I can, get the two birds with one stone and move my rook out. So it's protecting it here, and at the same time my rook at the d8 is no longer there, so no need to be afraid of that. And now I can take it, and now, okay, and now I think I can follow my plan to destroy opponent's castle. You see a4, okay, and now I think that pawn is overloaded, so I think I can take it like this. And I'm up like 2 pawns on the material as well. If opponent captures at e3, queen takes knight at the g3. It's over. In case that opponent captures, I take it. I bet opponent will go here. Okay, so take a look. There are 2 principles right now. One principle says if you're up, exchange. So exchanges should be good for me. Another principle says when you're attacking, do not exchange. Just, keep attacking. So I'm a little bit, I have got mixed feelings, but I think, okay, I can take it and I can win the endgame, but I really like my attack. So let's go back. I can move my bishop, I can move my rook there. My attack still looks pretty promising, but I just need to, I just need to bring more pieces to go for the opponent's king. And okay, rook is protecting there. Okay, so what happens after this move? Should I go like this, or should I don't know why, but I like my bishop at f3 even more. Let's go here. King f1 is not possible because of this move. Now in the next move I can go there and later decide whether move my bishop to the h3 or to the f3. Yeah, that actually might be a pretty interesting thing. Okay, queen f4. What opponent is planning to do? If I go rook g5, maybe opponent wants to counterplay. Maybe this is best chance. But if I move my bishop here, I think king still cannot go there because of rook f5. And there is a very powerful x-ray towards the king. So, okay. Okay, but opponent is, you can see, in the full defense. Should I bring my rook there or not? Yeah, let's bring my rook, why not? And now, what would be great if, okay, king f2, yes, but king f1, I think I can do the same. Or I can try to activate my rook from the e8, in this case. So, what can I do at this point? I mean, after this one, my bishop, but then I have got this move. Okay, but let's check just simple here. And now you can see if opponent moves queen, I can take at the g2, and you can see that it's a double check and opponent is winning. I mean, I'm winning, right? It's almost a checkmate, and I don't know what opponent can play. If opponent captures, I take it here. I can take the queen. After this move, I can take it here with a check and rook g3. Okay, and now if I'm not wrong, I'm up a queen. Yeah, maybe opponent, okay, and opponent resigns. Okay, as you can see, yeah, I think it was a pretty interesting game. Let me just make a small review of this game, because I just want to check one thing in the opening. Because as I told you, I haven't played that line for a while, so I want to check what does the opening theory say about that line. Maybe there is, okay, bishop e2, bishop d6, queen c2, castling, d takes c4. Over 1000, no, even more, almost 3000 games were played in this position. And actually, I told you that I'm gonna play e5, but there is also that b5 move that is probably more common, more popular, and that's true. b5 has got over 1000 games, but e5 is also, it has got 600 games, so also quite popular. And usually the main move, opponent played rook d1, there is such a move, but usually h3. And after queen e7, white plays a3. Should I be afraid of that? If I go there, what's the point? Knight g5. Knight goes to b6, and now bishop goes there. Bishop goes to f5, and now f3. Okay, so that's the point. Okay, I have to say, okay, and if I move my rook here, pawn takes. Can I take knight takes e4? No, it looks risky. Looks very risky. But if I go, what can I play right now? Bishop g6. Okay, queen goes somewhere. And now what? Can I take? Knight takes. No, I cannot take it here because that pawn is very vulnerable. So I don't want to do that. Okay, so probably bishop e4. Yeah, I think that position, queen's hanging. Okay. I have got mixed feelings again about that position because bishop takes f7. So I'm not 100% convinced that this is correct. So let me take a look. Let me take a look at the b5 move. Maybe instead of playing e5, maybe b5 would be even better. But if I go b5, bishop goes back to e2. And now if I go bishop b7, rook d1, queen c7. Okay, so I don't play queen e7, but queen c7. And after this move, I go e5. Bishop goes to g5, e takes d4. Knight cannot take at the d4 because bishop is taking h2. And now I go knight e5. Okay, I have to admit that that position looks really nice. So yeah, so most probably next time I'm going to play maybe b5 instead of e5. Okay, let's play another game. Any d5 ideas after e5? Sometimes, yes, there are some d5 ideas, but I think in that position it did not work. Sometimes, especially that black had got also the b4 move. Okay, so what can I... Okay, let me find a different opponent. Okay, opponent from Brazil. Let's play d4. Let's go here. Okay, g3. So we have got another Catalan at this point. So Catalan with c6, so I have to move my queen to c2. I'm protecting pawn at the c4. No need to play h6, it loses a time. I want to go e4. Yeah, should I go e4 or should I play... You know what, let's play b3 first. Let's play this move first. And after this move, now I'm controlling that square at the e5. And now I can go e4. Yeah, this is probably one of the most common positions for the Catalan. Okay, but now... okay. Okay, okay, opponent is going to keep playing that. Okay, I'm up a piece, so if you're up on the material, usually a good idea is to exchange, but that knight is so nice. So I will go there. In case opponent captures, I take it, and I have got that knight at the d6. It is called an octopus. Okay, but now I think I can take it. Yeah, let's take another thing. Yeah, everything in the black's position is wrong. Now I have got another tactical motive, so let's even take another material. And now, if I'm not wrong, opponent is down the rook and the pawn. Yeah, usually it's quite hard. Yeah, so opponent is not playing like Zigbert Tarash, definitely. Yeah, let's just bring my bishop back. I just want to keep it safe. f5. Okay, so some kind of crazy attacks, but I really don't think that such an attack is gonna work. I'll just bring my rook here. No, no, I think that probably when opponent blundered the bishop, opponent just kind of resigned. Of course, he's making some moves, but okay, let's go here. Let's open the position a little bit because opponent is making some kind of crazy attacks from the king. So let's open the position a little bit. Now the only safe square is here and here. Yeah, probably my, now opponent is hopeless. So yeah, definitely. Okay, e4. Okay, so opponent is playing probably until the checkmate. So I will try to make a checkmate pretty quickly. Okay, there is no checkmate. There is no mate, but let me play it here. I want to go there. I want to go back f3. Does it make much sense? Okay, my idea was, yeah, let's just keep it simple. Okay, let's checkmate that opponent. And probably in the next move there is a checkmate, so that's the, yeah, queen g7 is a kind of a checkmate. Okay, Okay, let's play another game. Let's play another 10 minutes game. Yeah, that opponent didn't play very well. I think all of you can agree with that. Yeah, I really hope to see some, more interesting game right now. Okay, next opponent from US. Okay, so I played, so maybe let's play Slav again. Of course, if opponent play, let's play Slav. So I play C6. Okay, opponent plays D London. Slav against D London also works. I can move my bishop to F5 or to G4, because now I can develop that bishop as opponent doesn't attack my pawn here. Let's go here. In D London, I really don't like that knight. So let's just take it off the board. And later I can play E6, maybe bishop D6, and very typical ideas for the Slav. Now I know that against London everything works, but there are some structures I really don't like if opponent is attacking my king on in the London. I really don't like if opponent is attacking. So I will just slowly develop. Yeah, later bishop D6. I don't want to allow my opponent to go knight E5. So now here, I want to play E5 myself, A4. Okay. Okay, so now what should I do? Does it work? Or maybe it's better to castle for me? Or you know what, let's go E5. Looks pretty nice. And now you can see, okay, it was pinned, so opponent moved back. What are my options? I can exchange a little bit. Yeah, let's just take it. Why not? Because you can see, let's simplify the position. Okay, I have to admit that I play a very similar position as black. And I mean, this kind of pawn structure, it happens because I play French as black, and there is a line called Fort Knox variation, a very solid line, but also, the opponent has got a strong attack. So, but now here this is like a Fort Knox variation, just reversed colors. And you see, I have got the strong center. I can castle. I can put my knight into a, very good central square. So let's go here. I have to bring my rooks closer into the center, or maybe I can dream of attacking on the king side even. Okay, opponent most probably will go there. B4, okay. Okay, so looks like a crazy attack, but that pawn is very weak. Or should I bring my rook? Rook lift. The question is, do I have got enough pieces to attack opponent's king? Maybe let's have a try. Maybe I can go there and push it forward. If I go here, opponent goes there, I play G5. Opponent takes, I go here. No, okay, I don't want to do that because, this is also hanging later if my rook is no longer there. Okay. So maybe I was a little bit too optimistic about my rook lift. But on the other hand, if I go there, opponent goes here, that pawn's hanging. No, so opponent cannot really go c4 because of that move. So, and now rook is protecting my queen. So let's have a try. That's my plan. I can also bring another rook into the game because my rook at the a8 is not doing much at this point. So maybe that also would be a nice idea to bring my rook closer. h3. Okay, so opponent is stopping my attack before it even happens. Yeah, let's bring another rook. It cannot be a mistake. And now I have to find a way. Okay, I can go there, I can create one threat. Maybe what would be even smarter if I go there. Okay, this is a very strong move. Take a look. And now I have got two threats. One threat is to go there, it's a fork for those two pieces. And second thing, I think I tried to capture here. Okay, and probably I can take it here. Let me calculate it, because that was my second point. If king captures, I go queen g3. And I can checkmate my opponents here. Okay, let's have a try. Yeah, as you can see, yeah, opponent is in trouble. Opponent is in big trouble right now. Yeah, in case that opponent, okay, what else opponent can do? I also tried to go there. I also tried to go there, even if I also tried to the rook. So a lot of, okay, king captures, I go here, as promised. After this move, I will take it here and I will get the knight. Okay, I'm up on the material. Okay, and opponent resigned. Rook g6. I mean, rook g6, I just wanted to bring more pieces into the attack. I just follow principles, right? That if you're attacking, it's always a good idea to bring more pieces, right? You see, and so in my games, I'm usually trying to, you know, follow some principles. And as you can see, it works actually. So yeah. Okay, let's play another game. Let's play another 10 minutes game. Yeah, in chess, usually if you follow principles, you can find a lot of good moves. And by the way, talking about, you know, good moves and about improving in chess, I created a free course how you can improve in chess, and you just need to go and visit my website, which is www.mattbobula.com, and you can join the free course there. Every week you will get one email with the lesson, so 10 lessons. Okay, but now we have got another opponent from Pakistan, as I see. Okay, what should I play? Let's play French. Maybe if opponent is going to play the main line, I will play that Fort Knox variation. So we will get the, okay, but opponent play exchanges. Okay, I have to take it back. Okay, and now, okay, usually I don't want to play, you know, boring end games or things like that. This is the reason why I will play more active way. c4. Okay, so opponent will play with the weak pawn. I'm also developing. I wanted to make a queenside castling, but now there is no need as opponent played there. I think I can just develop. And now I can take it. I was waiting until opponent captures like this. Now, until opponent develops the bishop, so I can capture like this. And now, if I'm not wrong, I can go there. Opponent has got the isolated pawn, so I want to attack it. Okay, now if I take it, queen takes, knight takes there, queen takes b7. Would it be good for me if I move my knight here, rook d1? Yeah, there are some problems. So maybe what are my other options? A good option is always to move knight in front of the isolated pawn and block it. So this is a pretty, looks like a pretty decent move. I can also develop my queen and maybe bring the rook. Okay, I like the idea of bringing more pieces. Yeah, okay, queen c8, but queen c8 looks a little bit too passive for me. So this is the reason why this move. Okay, and the opponent attacks. And now that move is not very good, because knight will just take it. Takes, and my queen is in the danger. But I think I can just go there. you see, if pawn takes, I take it here back with the bishop. If you are fighting against the isolated pawn, it's a great idea to exchange pieces. And if queen captures, I will go there and I will get that bishop. I mean, this is gonna be an, even trade, but there's gonna be less pieces on the board. So it's gonna be much easier for me to attack that isolated pass pawn. And I think I can go here. Okay, of course I want to get rid of that bishop. Okay, and right now, I have got an impression that a6 might be useful. Sometimes I can thread b5 and later b4, removing the defender. So it's like a small trap, but let's have a try. Okay, if I go there, no, maybe this is not the right time. Let's bring another attacker. I can remove that knight by moving forward. I can also maybe somehow put my bishop there. Okay, opponent is stopping me. What to do to improve my position? That pawn is kind of weak. I wish I could go there and, for example, double my rooks, but that pawn is weak. So maybe firstly I will play bishop d6. Bishop is pointing there. This is an active place. And at the same time, later I can move my queen here. I can also create some threats to the opponent's king. But now I think it's gonna be much easier for me to move my rook to the d7 and later rook goes to the d8. So I double my rooks and later I can move my bishop. Yeah, Piotr, that stream is in English, so. Okay, rook goes to d4. What opponent is trying to do? Maybe after this move, bishop goes there. Yeah, okay, it does make some sense. Maybe opponent also wants to make some kind of a rook lift, like in the last game. But okay, can I follow my plan or not? If I go there, bishop f4. Okay, let's just double my rooks. Firstly, and later I will, think how to take advantage of that. Okay, so opponent wants to exchange. I usually don't mind to exchange pieces when I'm fighting against the isolated pawn. So I take it, I go there. Queen is protecting, queen is attacking, and I'm just very curious how opponent is going to defend if I bring another rook. So you see, I have got 4 pieces, and all 4 pieces are attacking that isolated pawn. So I think I have got a pretty good chance to go into the endgame. Okay, rook d1. I have got a pretty good chances to defend, to go into the endgame when I'm up a pawn. Okay, opponent can go here. But now I have got a really nice idea. I just need to calculate it, to double check it. And it's gonna be a very common idea. How do you fight against the isolated pawn? Because you can see, after this move, I'm pretty sure opponent will play this move. I think this is the only way opponent can save material. Yes, because is there any other way for white to save it? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, after rook d4, you see that pawn is attacked 4 times. It's also protected 4 times. And I think I can play c6. I can add another defender and another attacker. And pawn cannot capture because rook takes d4. And then I'm gonna take that pawn. Okay, if opponent goes like this, I can, of course, c6 doesn't make much sense. Rook goes there. Does it make sense? Because take a look, if rook captures, opponent takes here, I take here. No, doesn't make much sense. So if I take, rook takes, and Can I do the same? Can I play c6? Opponent goes d6. I move my knight back. Knight goes to e4. I play f5. Knight goes to c5. Okay, but I think it should work. And I play c6. And that was yes, but now d6 is a small problem. Also, I really wanted to calculate what happens if opponent captures there, because I know that I may win the rook, but if pawn is, if opponent can advance the pawn, I'll be in trouble. And now, if I'm not wrong, I wanted to go there. I bring third attacker. Opponent can play here, but then I can remove the defender. I can just, by playing f5, I will try to remove the defender at this point. And if opponent goes here, rook takes d6, rook takes d6, I think knight takes d6 is even more accurate, and knight is also protecting pawn at this square. Yes, can I go f5? I think so. So my knight from d6. Now, I think that after c takes b7, I can take the rook at the d1 with a check, and later I can move my rook back to d8. I mean, before c6, I could try to block it, but I was a little bit afraid that opponent will try to play moves like f3 and knight e4, and I wasn't 100% sure does it really work. But I think that works. I think I can rook takes it here. Okay, and now I just need to calculate. Rook takes, rook's hanging, but opponent can go here. And knight's hanging, and that pawn is hanging. So I have to take care of my knight, and knight captures b7. Okay, and if I take it here, opponent goes there. I have to move my rook to this place, and knight goes back to c5. Maybe there is a chance that opponent will get a perpetual check, which is of course not that great. It's not that great. So maybe I didn't calculate it properly at this point, as you can see, because I don't wanna make a draw. Of course, I wanna win this. But after this move, I think opponent has got a perpetual. Okay, it's not a perpetual check, but it's a repetition. So I think I have to take it with the rook. Okay, and right now, okay, I have to do something with my knight for sure. I think I cannot save them both. So if I go there, knight takes, I'll move my rook into the second rank. So let's bring another knight. And I will try to get that pawn. Okay, maybe it's gonna be equal on the material, but at least my rook is definitely more active. b6. I didn't even consider b6, but then rook takes e8 with a check, and it's might be a small problem. Okay, it's equal on the material, but at least you can see that my rook is really strong at this point. And you see, after this move, I think I can activate my knight, attacking even that pawn. This is the endgame. So what would be really nice? Would be really nice if I can activate my king. But now I also see some ideas of moving there. Okay, but I left my a pawn without any support. Okay, if I go a5, okay, because if I check king f1, I go here. Yeah, would it be good or not? Because after this move, opponent wants to go there, making a fork. I'm a little bit afraid to leave that pawn, but maybe I don't have a choice. Or I can always move my rook back, but then b4. I play there, takes. No, I think I'm good. So maybe this move. But let's calculate here. Here, knight f4. Opponent goes a5. Okay, let's play aggressive way. Opponent offered me a draw, but I reject it. And let's play for a win. Of course, this is a big mistake because I have got knight c3 and I can get the rook. Now I know that knight e2 is with a check, but I'm just talking about this move. And then knight goes here. So we see I will try to, create some problems to my opponent. There is a checkmate. I think it's called Arabian Checkmate with a rook and with the knight. But is it possible to do that in that position? Okay, I think I can take it here. And now I threat to go there. Maybe some kind of a skewer even. Before opponent is moving pawns forward, of course. Okay, let me have a try here. Skewer and the pawn. b5. But can't I just skewer my opponent? Hello, DJ Mad Dog. Okay, but let me take a look at this position, about the final position, because I was a little bit lucky. I'm not so sure. I think, okay, my intuition tells me that position was quite equal, because I was able to make a draw in the final position. So position was like that. And now of course, I think opponent should go king g1. And after this move, opponent goes b5, takes. Okay, that pawn is very dangerous, so I have to go there. b6 takes. I take there. I have to sacrifice my knight. I really have to sacrifice my knight for that pawn. So yeah, position looks quite drawish. Yeah, I think, okay, position was quite drawish, that's true. And let me just check, did I play well against that isolated pawn when I decided to play c6? Yeah, maybe I think someone mentioned rook d6 idea, and later with the idea to go there. But I told you I was a little bit afraid of knight e4, and then knight takes, rook takes, and I cannot take it because rook takes, and it's a back rank checkmate. Yeah, and after king this move, there is also rook c1. White has got a counterplay on that pawn, so position is also equal. So actually, I think it didn't help me that much, right? So that's the point. But still, I think that that game was pretty interesting, right? So that's the thing. Okay, I think it was my last game for today. Thanks for watching. What can I say? Next stream is gonna be on Thursday. I really also want to encourage you to visit my website, that www.mattbobula.com, and check and get that course, right? It's a free course, 10 weeks, 10 lessons. You will improve all important elements in chess. So I think it's really worth to do that. Thank you very much. Now let's make a maybe small right to Lula Robs, and hope to see you next time on Thursday. Okay, have a nice day. Bye.